For decades, the debate over which diet best protects the heart has circled around the same battleground: carbohydrates versus fat. Low-fat diets were the dominant recommendation through the 1980s and 1990s, followed by a wave of enthusiasm for low-carbohydrate approaches, including the Atkins and later ketogenic diets. Both camps accumulated advocates, detractors, and conflicting studies, leaving the public with little actionable clarity. A major new study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, one of the largest and most rigorous dietary investigations ever conducted, now offers a resolution to that debate, and the answer reframes the entire question. The key to heart health is not how much fat or carbohydrate you eat. It is the quality of the food itself. The study, scale, method, and duration. The research was led by Jiyuan Wu, a postdoctoral research fellow in the Department of Nutrition at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, and involved a team of investigators from Harvard, Brigham and Women's Hospital, and Harvard Medical School. The team analyzed data from 198,473 participants enrolled across 3 landmark long-running cohort studies: the Nurses' Health Study, Nurses' Health Study 2, and the Health Professionals Follow-Up Study. Together, these cohorts encompassed 42,720 men and over 155,000 women, followed for a combined total of more than 5.2 million person-years. During that follow-up period, which extended up to 33 years, 20,033 cases of coronary heart disease were documented. Participants completed detailed food frequency questionnaires at multiple points throughout their enrollment, allowing researchers to track dietary patterns over time, rather than capturing a single snapshot. Critically, the study also incorporated blood sample data, providing objective metabolomic measurements of participants' actual physiological responses to their diets, which helped address the self-reporting limitations inherent in dietary questionnaires. Researchers constructed multiple dietary indices to distinguish not just whether participants followed low-carbohydrate or low-fat patterns, but what kinds of foods composed those patterns. Healthy low-carbohydrate diets emphasized plant-based proteins and fats, whole grains, vegetables, nuts, and legumes. Unhealthy low-carbohydrate diets leaned on animal proteins, animal fats, and refined carbohydrates. The same distinction was applied to low-fat diets. A healthy version featured whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and lean or plant-based proteins, while an unhealthy version relied on refined grains, added sugars, and processed foods. The core finding: food quality trumps macronutrient ratio. The results were unambiguous. High-quality versions of both low-carbohydrate and low-fat diets were associated with approximately a 15% lower risk of coronary heart disease compared to their unhealthy counterparts. Conversely, low-carbohydrate and low-fat diets that prioritized refined carbohydrates, animal fats, and processed foods were associated with an increased risk of coronary heart disease, regardless of whether the macronutrient targets were being met. This finding directly explains why earlier studies on low-carb and low-fat diets produced such inconsistent results. As Wu noted, people can follow a low-carbohydrate diet in radically different ways. One person might build it around vegetables, olive oil, nuts, and fish, while another might build it around red meat, full-fat dairy, and highly processed low-carb packaged foods. Both qualify as low-carbohydrate diets by definition, but their effects on cardiovascular health are opposite. The same logic applies to low-fat diets built around whole grains versus those built around refined starches and added sugars. Shared biological pathways, what the blood tests revealed. One of the most scientifically striking findings emerged from the metabolomic analysis. Participants following healthy versions of low-carbohydrate diets and those following healthy versions of low-fat diets showed remarkably similar biological markers, despite consuming very different macronutrient ratios. Both groups showed higher levels of HDL cholesterol, the protective form, lower triglyceride levels, lower concentrations of high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, a key marker of systemic inflammation, and improved overall metabolomic profiles compared to participants following unhealthy versions of either diet. Wu described this finding as surprising and illuminating. The similarity in metabolomic outcomes across two diet patterns that emphasize entirely different macronutrients suggests that these approaches protect the heart through shared biological pathways, and that those pathways are activated not by restricting carbohydrates or fat per se, but by the quality of the foods chosen. Whole, minimally processed foods, plant-based proteins, unsaturated fats, and dietary fiber appear to be the common denominators driving cardiovascular benefit, regardless of which macronutrient happens to be lower on a given day. What counts as high quality and what does not? The study's distinctions between high-quality and low-quality foods within each dietary pattern are consistent with long-standing nutritional guidance. On the positive side, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, seeds, olive oil, fish, and low-fat dairy. On the negative side, refined grains including white bread and prepared pastries, foods with added sugar, red meat and processed meats, full-fat dairy, and ultra-processed packaged foods. The JACC findings align well with the DASH diet developed to lower blood pressure and with the Mediterranean diet, both of which are built around the same high-quality food foundations and with recommendations from the American Heart Association. Wu acknowledged that the findings diverge somewhat from aspects of current U.S. dietary guidelines when it comes to animal protein and full-fat dairy. The study's data, combined with a substantial existing body of evidence, indicate that higher intake of saturated fat and animal protein, particularly from red meat and full-fat dairy, is associated with elevated disease risk. The study does not argue for complete elimination of animal protein, but it does indicate that a meaningful portion of dietary protein and fat should come from plant-based sources. Limitations and what the study does not cover. The researchers were careful to outline the boundaries of their conclusions. Because participants were health professionals, they likely had higher health awareness and better access to medical care than the general population, which could affect how representative the results are. Dietary information was self-reported, introducing potential measurement error, though the blood-based metabolomic data provided a biological counterweight to that limitation. The findings also may not apply to extreme versions of these dietary patterns, such as ketogenic diets with very low carbohydrate intake, since the macronutrient ranges observed in the study did not extend to those extremes. The study was observational rather than a randomized controlled trial, which means researchers cannot claim direct causation. However, the biological plausibility, the scale of the population, the length of follow-up, and the consistency of the metabolomic data make the associations compelling. The practical takeaway: Yale University cardiologist Harlan Krumholtz, editor-in-chief of the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, summarized the study's significance plainly. What matters most for heart health is the quality of the foods people eat. Whether a diet is lower in carbohydrates or fat, emphasizing plant-based foods, whole grains, and healthy fats is associated with better cardiovascular outcomes. For people navigating daily food decisions, this research offers a genuinely liberating perspective. It removes the pressure of tracking macronutrient ratios and replaces it with a more straightforward principle: prioritize whole, minimally processed foods. Whether you eat more carbohydrates or more fat is secondary to whether those carbohydrates come from whole grains and vegetables rather than refined starches, and whether those fats come from olive oil and nuts rather than processed meats and fried foods. The diet debate between low carb and low fat has been largely a distraction. Quality, not quantity, is what the heart responds to.